Hi. I'm Amy Feldman.
And I'm Mara Allen.
And today we have the beautiful Danielle Smith.
Yes, that's me.
Welcome to Calababes.
I'm so excited. I've been trying to be part of the Calabasas Wives Club for so long, so I'm happy to be adopted finally. I feel like this is like an anointing ceremony of such, right?
Yes, it definitely
We get to marry you off now.
Yes.
Yes. Feel free, please do. Can't be worse than how I do my own dating. So.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
Well, Danielle is MODSUN's sister who has also been a guest on our podcast before. And
Love
he
you,
did
MODSUN.
mention how you guys grew up in Minnesota and
Yes.
that you moved out here about a year ago.
True.
And so now you guys live together.
Yes, as adults, which is
Yes.
Fun.
crazy every day where you're like, did you ever think like as adults, like full-blown adults, not like easing into adulthood, like we're in our 30s, like we're living together now? Like, I don't know. Was it a good idea or a bad idea?
Going back to live with your parents, though, right?
It's true. It could be worse. No offense, Mom. Lovely person. But
now
at
you're
least
the
Mom's a
parent.
little more fun, right? Yeah, I get to play the mom role in our house.
So now Danielle lives with 3 boys.
So you have 3 children.
3 children and 3
dogs.
dogs.
Yes.
Like romper room at our house. It's
Definitely.
amazing. Anything gets done there.
Well, there's now an adult there
Yes.
to show them how to do dishes.
Trying to like spearhead 3 boys of how to like live as adults. It's amazing because they're not like 20. One of my
Right.
roommates is like 24, but he was a child star, so I'm like, you probably never learned how to do anything. And fair, because you're like,
Right.
so I'm gonna go be like in daddy daycare now, can someone else do the dishwasher today? Like, I get it. But my other roommate's 30, and I'm like, how? I'm like, you guys, you're welcome, because if you dated a woman and lived with her and you acted like this, oh my God, you would be on the curb in 2 seconds.
See, it's
In
good
the doghouse.
it's good that she's there to teach them how to be
I
adults
try.
and teach them like to have like a girlfriend or whatever.
God.
These are skills you need to know.
Yes, like how to clean your bathroom.
Exactly.
That's a crazy concept at our house. And what that actually means, you know, that actually means cleaning the toilet and actually like washing the actual floors of your
I was gonna say-
shower. Which
Oh.
I was gonna say the floor by the toilet. With all the
that's definitely
boys.
never been washed in like
Yeah,
in some
that
of the rooms.
needs clean.
Yeah, in some of the rooms, Maud's more clean. Maud is more tidy.
I feel like he's like very neat and clean.
He is not, but he's smart and hires people to make sure that he is neat and
He
clean.
likes it clean.
Maud
so that's good.
Maud's brain is like insane at all times. So if you imagine that like externally, it's pretty much like that. Like he's in the middle of painting and he'll just like walk away from it and leave paint and water like on the floor with 3 dogs in the house. Never think about it again. Like one day I dropped paint, like he had just done all these paintings because he was selling paintings. And he had this giant thing of paint and his dog like jumped up to do something, jumped right on the paint and like pink paint went all over like my robe, the dog, the floor, his painting. He was so mad. And I was like, you leave stuff, who leaves paint open?
It's
Like
your fault,
dogs.
not the dogs.
Yeah, he still will not agree to that. I just want you to know. He has not admitted that it was his fault.
Ever.
Still my fault. Cleaning
Of
pink
course.
paint off our little shepherd, Australian shepherd. It was not fun. It's like, sorry, you're hot pink today, doggy.
And that was
kinda
planned. We were
was.
trying to match MODSUN's hair to the dog.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Which would be this color now.
Today.
So, yeah, today it's green. Yesterday pink.
Oh my God.
It's always crazy at
I
our
saw
house.
an Australian Shepherd being walked the other day, and it did have its tail, but the owner painted or whatever, colored it pink,
No.
and it looked so cute.
I mean, I could see it. I've seen it. The pink on
Yeah.
our dog, real cute. Real cute. I'm sure theirs was much more safe than like whatever paint blue
Yeah,
acrylic.
stable.
Well, it was my hair dye instead of paint.
Yeah.
So
So
Meant for hair.
I
Yes.
love that that's the life out in Calabasas though. It's like, oh, I can't even get my hair colored here for 3 months, but we got dogs
God.
getting
Oh,
like
yeah.
full tail colors.
Yep.
People spend way more money on their pets and themselves or their kids, or I don't even know. Maybe
Oh.
it's they don't have kids, so it's the dogs.
that is their kid.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The dog is the kid.
Maud said that those are his 3 kids.
Yeah.
Those
Oh,
dogs.
he probably didn't include my dog. My dog and one of his dogs have like dog beef in our house. It's a whole
Oh,
thing.
no.
Like we have a baby gate that separates them. It's been like a true fight. They've been like beefing for like 3
They're
months.
all boys, right?
Yep, all boys.
I think there's something going on in dog world because I've heard from more people, including myself, that there's been in-home dog aggression, and I think they're getting sick of us. So
They're not getting a break anymore. Like they don't get their nap
Bingo.
times or
They
their quiet
don't.
time.
and they're fighting for our attention. So it's like, wait, I used to be able to like give mom some attention and get some pets, and like then you'd go away, and then I'd be like laying here and getting extra attention. Now, you guys are home all the time. They're always fighting for the attention. So I think,
Maybe.
No,
Or they're just not getting downtime anymore.
Yeah, they're like, I need a break. My dog, I call myself, I'm like a smothering dog mom. And my dog has always been the most aloof dog, which is just classic because it's pretty much like every day I look at him, I'm like, this is so symbolic to like my relationships. I'm like, love me, cuddle me. And my dog's like wiggling away, like, please get away from me. Like, I need space. Like, for his first year of his life, he wouldn't even sleep in bed with me. Like, everyone got a dog and they're like, we're going to crate train him. I was like, heck no, not in my house. This dog's never going to sleep in a crate. I have one because, like, we should. But, like, he's not sleeping in a crate. He's going to sleep in our bed. And he would cry to get off my bed and go in his crate. And I'm like, what? I'm the one mom that's like, this is all I want. My dog to cuddle with me all night. Not even going to pretend for 3 months when you're a puppy that we're going to lock you in here every night and then we're going to stop doing it. No. We're just going into, you're going to sleep in this bed. And he was like, no.
Like, so, I need my safe space.
Literally. Like, we'll sleep and I'll try to cuddle him and he crawls to the very, like, dramatically, like, floofs down at the very opposite diagonal of my bed. And I'm like, why don't you love me? I'm like, I love you so much. I
had that problem.
I think it's like a cat. Cats are like, oh no, I will love you when I want to love you.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you're back? Cool. You owe me dinner. And then like, can you just leave? I'm good. Like my dog puts himself to bed all the time. Like he'll just walk in our room and be like, I'm going to bed, and just get on the bed and go to sleep. And I'm like, do you hate me? Like, what did I do to you?
Well, you gave me my chicken already. So I don't know.
Right. She cooks.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Rotisserie chicken every night for your dog.
I buy rotisserie chicken, so I don't cook it for my dog. If I'm going to spend 2 hours making rotisserie chicken, I'm going to eat it. But I do, this doesn't make it justified, but I do feed him rotisserie chicken. It's a long story. He was putting up like a food battle, and I was like, oh, he like got trained on chicken because they said like the dogs learn how to potty train so much faster if you give them chicken. And so then it turned into a whole thing, and now every day, and it makes it worse because I also do cut it up and microwave it and then put it on top of his food and then put it in his room.
Oh my.
Sprinkle a little gravy on it.
Into your room.
I'm like, dinner is served. Sometimes I talk to him in like a British voice, like, welcome, your dinner is served, your highness. Like, and set it down, and he's just like,
platter.
And then I have a French bulldog, so it's like, grunting and everything, and you're like, cool. I'm just here to serve you. So, yep, this is life.
It's like, when they burp, it's a compliment, the snarfling. He's like, Mom, you did it right tonight.
He's like, okay, this one's fine. It's like, yeah, I hope so. You're eating nicer. Everyone's always like, Louis eats better than us in our house.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Louis. Okay, he already has a king's name.
Yes.
Okay? Can we just start with that?
King Louis. And he's a little white Frenchie, so, he gets all the, attention.
Does he have a crown? I know he does.
No, he doesn't. I didn't. I'm not that bad. I have a couple sweaters, a couple jackets, lots of plaid, but that's it. I had boots once. He would not do that, but I tried. I lived in Minnesota. I tried to put boots on my puppy, and he would just slide.
I live in California, and my husband's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get these rubber things that are going to go on their feet. And I was like, yeah, right.
Yeah, good luck.
Because of our big backyard. Remember when we had like the whole entire thing bulldozed? So it was like mud. And so, we're going to do that to our pit bulls. Our pit bulls are going to be like, yeah, put those rubber boots on me, and I'll go walk around. That lasted like 1 second. I don't even know if we got them on there.
Yeah.
I'm like, why?
Oh my God. How many times a day would you have to put them on, off?
That's
on,
what
off,
I'm
on,
like,
off.
this is the silliest thing. Like, whoever even invented these things, but.
I know. I tried them all. The clip-on boots, the socks that were like, rubber-soled socks that you go on. No. I mean, I got a puppy and I lived downtown, and it was like, I got my dog in December, like a week before Christmas.
Oh, no.
So it was like potty training him. It's like 50 below out, and I lived in the city, so it was like, he's just on the sidewalk. Like, there's like, a guy peeing on the street drunk next to us, and I'm like, go potty, holding up chicken.
Just watch him.
I just tried to put some booties on him, like, this poor dog. And he was like, no, this is not it, Mom. I'm not wearing it.
Oh, my God.
I have, like, a video of him in a jacket with his, like, booties on, and he's, like, crying. He's like, like, crying. Like, I hate my mom. Like, all, like, that Christmas Story, like, snowsuit vibes. Like, poor dog.
The bunny suit.
It's like, please, Mom, please.
I think I've seen that meme.
Oh, you
Louis.
for sure.
No.
Oh, yeah, Louis, my dog. Yeah, probably. I know. He should have his own little TikTok.
They do very well, animal TikToks.
They do? See, I don't know.
Animal TikToks and animal Instagram.
Animal Instagrams. I've tried. I got an Instagram for him because I didn't want to post a bunch of pictures on mine because I thought my friends would get annoyed. So I was like, if you care about my dog,
You can follow him.
visit this page.
You didn't want to be the dog lady
King
when you're like
Louie.
on dating apps and they're like stalking you on your I
Yeah.
almost said Facebook, but you're too young for that.
Oh,
On
I
your
have Facebook.
IG, and they're like, "What's up with this Frenchie? Wow,
Yeah,
okay, I don't know about
this
this
is
chick."
a crazy lady obsessed with her dog. I know.
The dog lady, not the cat lady.
Yeah, there's both. There's both. I probably could be either lady. Like, depending on the day, I can be the cat lady too. So
Oh my God.
I try not to be. As I'm getting older, to be the old spinster. I try to scale back, be a cool dog mom.
Dog mom. Okay, so how does
That's
that
my
go? Is that like on your Hinge or app?
So we
Dating
talked
app?
about this, right?
Is it like a part of your profile though? Is Louis in there?
Do I have Louis in there? I probably do. Like, I made one of those. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Like, online dating just scares me. I don't know. Not like scares me like, oh my God, someone's gonna kidnap me. Like I
You're
passed my
kidnappable.
20s. I tell
You
my
are
mom all the time.
kidnappable.
I'm like, Mom, I'm in my 30s. There is no market for kidnapping or raping a 30-something-year-old woman. They're like, please get out of the car. I thought you were younger from behind. In my defense, you're really short. But like, no, I did not sign up for all this. The
You only have a couple years left, and you are not gonna
worth
be a
the
prophet.
squeeze. Like, this could be a whole real life thing. Like, you could get pregnant. Like, no. And then you're gonna keep it because you're like old. Like, please, no. Get out of the car. So I'm not worried about that at all. The thing I'm worried about the most is just like vibing with someone. You know, like, I don't know. I just feel like I always have like major anxiety about meeting people that I don't know and then having to sit there for like an hour and a half and be like, tell me about your life. Tell me all this. When I feel like you meet people, you know, like we're missing that part of life where it's like you meet someone and you're just like, whoa, like
Feel a connection.
yes, or even looks. Like, I'll see a guy on, like, a dating site. I would never think they're hot. And then I meet him in real life. Like, literally one guy was like, hey, we were talking once about going on a date, and you blew me off. And I met him in real life and was like, this guy's hot. To all my friends, like, who's Pete? He's hot. And he was like, hey, after, like, an hour of us talking, he's like, so we talked on a dating app, and you never met up with me. And I was like, what? You're so cute. Like, I don't know. But in real life, Pete was cool. But, like, online, I was like, yeah, Pete,
Yeah.
I'm at work. Yeah, I'm making this for dinner. Like, what are you? Yeah, football's cool. Love it. Like, now what? Yep, I have a dog. Okay, cool. Like, I don't want to go on a date with you. Like, this is
So you're going by a picture.
yeah.
Right. But now all of a
Exactly.
sudden he wanted you even more because you blew him
Well,
off.
I don't
So
know
how'd
because
that
we
work
never
out?
went on a
Pete.
date. We never went on a date after that. Like, Pete, I think
Pete.
Pete was too salty that I blew him off. I know.
Oh,
Sorry, Pete.
You're
We-
lost, Pete.
This is why I'm still single. You probably are married now, like all my other exes. So he won. I'm sure. I'm sure he's married
That's
or
okay.
something. I lost
Minnesota is in the past because you're an
Tell us
LA
about,
girl.
Yeah, tell us about dating here.
Oh my
How's
God.
LA?
Dating here. Well, let's clarify. I've lived here for a year, and 9 months of it we've been in lockdown. Okay.
I
So
know.
that's not a great start. Then, you know, everyone's like, oh, and your brother's mod. So that's awesome. And it's like, but is it for dating? It's like, because I have boys at my house 24/7. Hot musician boys, you know, they're all cute. They're like playing instruments. Like, they're cutest ever. You know, they're like just jamming, doing music. And it's like, yeah, like, so there's like two kinds of guys in LA. They're like the guys that are friends with my brother that are like, whoa, not Mod's sister. No.
Ooh, Mod's like, don't touch my sister,
Right?
okay?
It's like either that extreme or it's the extreme where like I met this like hot like 24-year-old model, like looked like Sid Vicious, so cute. Met him at a bar and he was like, we have to hang out, like blah blah blah, and like we got a party. So I invited him over. I was like, hey, you know what? It's one of our friends' birthdays. They rented a yacht. We're going on this boat. Like it's gonna be so cool. Do you want to come?
I'll come
So
with you.
I
I
know.
know, I'll
And
go.
so I invited him, right? So he comes to this house or whatever. He's hanging out, like playing music. It's all cool. Everyone's partying, and I'm like, oh wow, like good for me. Like he's like 24 and he's like a model. Like he's
Like
with a
Cougar.
real agency. And he starts being like, Danielle's the homie. Like Danielle's
Oh,
the
no.
homie. And I
Oh
was
no,
like,
you got the friend zone.
No, you're
I
in the
was like,
friend zone.
oh my God, you're at my house. It's 3:30 in the morning and you're drunk. And even then I'm the homie. Like, oh no. Like the word that would like shrivel your heart is like
So
calling
he
you the
came
homie.
to your house, but he wanted to
I
hang out
think
with
he was
Maud.
more like, yeah. And then he messaged me after, like, bless him, little 24-year-old. So he messaged me after, was like, that was so fun. I want to meet more of your friends. And I was all salty, like, that's called the manager. You can pay me for that. Like, all like,
I'll send you my digits.
Yeah,
okay,
like-
and my
like,
receptionist
so
will
it's like
come
you
lost
get
that
one
one
or
to your
the
brother.
other, you know? Yeah, I lose them all to Maud, you know? It's like, or I'll have a cute guy that'll come over, we'll be hanging out, like, he knows through music outside of, like, hanging out, and then he'll come over to our house, and the next thing you know, they're in the studio, and I'm like, yeah, but I've already had, like, 4 tequila shots, and, like, smoking weed, trying to be cool, and in the studio, and I'm like, 2 hours in, like, just dozing off. I'm sure you've been there. Come on. You with the music
play for hours.
You're just like, is this going to end? You know, like, you're like, because, like, this would be
so
cool.
happy
And
about
so then it always
it.
ends with me just being like, so, yeah, you win, Mod.
You
Again.
lost another one of Mod.
It's like, I thought you were tired, but nope, you're awake now. Like, writing 2 songs. Great.
I'm glad I was your muse and inspiration. I'm going to go to bed now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, great. Okay, well, this was fun. Glad I brought over a nice session for you at 4 a.m. You're welcome.
But you met a guy on a set for one of the videos for your brother.
Oh, yes. Okay, so that's like a sad story, though, you know? Okay, well, it is sad.
Well, you can see it one way or the other.
I know, okay. So,
It's like,
yes.
did you get ghosted? Or did
Right.
you not?
Oh,
Right.
that story.
And it really is
Oh,
a ghosted.
no.
It is a dark story. Okay, so
Leave it to Amy.
let me just tee up the fact that I have like the most tragic, it's like my whole dating life is very Shakespearean. Like, I'm just waiting for them to be like, this is the man you're meant to marry. And he's going to, like, get on a knee to propose. And literally, I told this to a guy the other night because I met this guy and we had crazy chemistry. We just, like, hit it off. I'm not going to say where, but no. But I met this hot guy and I was like, we had instant chemistry and we, like, hit it off. We've been hanging out for a couple weeks. And I, like, left that night and I was like, this is the moment in the movie where I, like, die as I was driving home. And I'm like, no, but, like, literally my dating life goes like this. Like, this would be the moment where I'm like, I've never had chemistry like this. He's my perfect man.
Right.
Like, oh, my God, where have you been my whole life? And then it was like, boom, I died. Because
No,
I
you
just
don't die. I
love,
think
like,
he
the
usually
tragic
dies.
movies, you know? And I was like, it's great. And I told him this, which is what's wrong with me, like, why I am single, because I have no filter. So I'm like, I had the craziest thought last night after all this. And I was like, literally, but, like, I'm like, art house people would love my movie. They'd feel all the feels. I'm like, but general public would be like, worst movie ever, because she died at the end. But
And was there a second date or even a first one? That's what I want to know.
oh, with this guy, the chemistry guy, there were dates. Yes, there's
Okay.
been dates. There's been dates.
There's
But
some dates.
But yeah, nothing's easy in LA. That's what I've learned. Everything's very complicated. And like Minnesota was always a very small town. So like I always was like, oh, if I dated one guy, I'm like, know at least one person you know. Like if you meet anyone out here even and you're like, you're from Minnesota? I'm like, what's your Facebook? Literally click on it. It's like 55 mutual friends. You know what I mean? So I was like, LA, like I'm going to move to LA. There's so many people out there. And then it's the same thing. You're like, oh, so you're friends with your, you know, oh, great.
Okay.
So you guys know each other. Oh, and you know my brother too. Oh, great. This is
So then I'm already out of this conversation because he already said you can't date me. So, okay, bye.
Exactly. Okay, so I move out here thinking I'm going to meet, like, amazing guys. Well, actually, I kind of was like, probably not. I'm probably too old for, like, every guy in LA. But I'm going to try. Like, I'm going to give it the old college try, right? It can't be worse than Minnesota where, like, everyone gets married at 25, you know? So you're like, okay, at least there's some potentials, like, whatever.
So you are the dog lady in Minnesota.
Yeah, so lockdown starts. No, literally. Like, I am. Or, like, my friends are always like, I just need a lamb to carry me through you. Like, I'm that friend, you know, where they're like, tell me your stories. And then they're like, oh, thank God I'm married. I can't imagine dating.
Right.
And
How do
you're
you do it in
I
this
feel so
day
much
and
better
age?
now.
yeah, they're like, God, I just love
I
your
just love my
stories.
husband so
Like,
much
yeah,
now.
they're
I'm
like,
going to go home.
yeah, their husband, I want to be like the next day, like, you're welcome for whatever happened last night because that was because of homeboy who hid the girl in his closet. You're welcome. Like, you're welcome. For that weird shit where she got really into it, yep, that was because of that story. So just know I'm looking out for you and your wife. You're welcome.
And if you want a girls' night, she's always going to be with me, okay?
Oh, my
Go
guy,
out
my
with her
friends' husbands
anytime.
love when I take their wives on girls' nights because it's like we're just drinking shots, like doing all the fun things. But yeah, so when I moved out here, I was like, I'm gonna meet all these people, and then COVID happened. So like, it was like, so you're not gonna meet anyone. Plot twist: you're not gonna do anything actually for like months. Like you're just gonna chill here. So
You're just
like,
going to chill with the
everything's on
children
pause.
and the
then-
dogs.
So I told Maud, I was like, I've decided, like, because I was doing all these walks and things, because I have nothing else to do, right? For the first time in my life, I'm not working. I'm like just living my life. And so I was like, yeah, I kind of feel like I'm a modern day lady in waiting. Like I'm just tanning, I'm laying in the pool, I'm going on hikes, I'm cooking, I'm like perfecting my cooking skills. Like I've been doing cooking videos, like doing all the laundry. I'm like, all I'm waiting for is like a guy with like 2 cows and a goat to show up to Maud's door and be like, you got a woman in there that could like cook or something? Cool. Trade ya. And he's like, so you're leaving? Like, literally, that was my life for like 4 months. So we finally, we're doing a music video shoot, which was like, okay, yes, we're doing a video shoot. Like, there's definitely gonna be guys there. Like, I'm gonna meet someone that doesn't know anyone that's working there. Like, right? Like, it's a big set. So I'm all pumped.
Yeah.
I'm like going to the video shoot, you know, whatever. Get there, it's like mostly people we know, so I'm like, oh, okay, fair.
I know you,
and then
I know
also,
you.
like, all of our little crew of, like, friends in the music world, like, it's, like, our house, Kel's house, like, you know, all our houses, it's, like, all the boys are, like, Danielle's family. She's, like, a sister, and I'm like, okay. So then I have all these, like, big brothers there that are like, oh, okay, whatever, shorty. You know, like, joking with me and just shooting the shit. So you're like, this is just
This is not working.
You know, between my
blockers.
roommates, I mean, they definitely... They would never do that, like, in that sense. But you know what I mean? They're always like, how do you...
Unintentionally.
This is what they always say. They're like, how do you not meet guys? And I was like, can you look at the table we're at? And it's me with, like, 7 guys. Like, I'll show you a visual aid of, like, the other night. And it's like, this is why I don't meet guys. Because I'm out with you people. No guys walking over to a table of 6 dudes and being like, hey, girl.
Hey, what's up, honey?
I know you're not with any of these guys.
Right? Like, you can't be the only one. Like, yeah. And, like, that's great. So
you look like you have a harem.
Yeah, right?
So,
it's like,
you know,
these guys are all for sale. Just
yes.
name your price, ladies.
You're like, I am the ultimate wingman.
Right.
So,
and I am a good wingman.
I know.
I mean,
I can
I'm the
see
best
that.
wingman for Maud, really. Like, me and Maud, we were joking earlier that we always, like, traded friends when we were growing up all the time. Like, when we were little, we'd be like, you know, not, like, trading. Like, we're not in the back room, like, okay, so I'm going to take... It was just kind of, like, an understood thing. It was like, so, like, when you're on tour and a band stays here... If there's one that's hot, I'm probably gonna, you know, hang out with them. And, like, when my best friend sleeps over and she's super hot, like, if she
You can have her.
disappears, like, I'm not gonna ask questions, and we're just gonna have this understanding that, like, yeah, like, this is the good thing about having a sibling, right? Close in age. So we finally go to the video set. Long tangent. And there's, like, one guy that was there that was super cute. And he was, like, playing a stunt double. So, like, not a big role, just, like, kind of hanging out most of the day. He was super charismatic, which is, like, as you get older, I feel like you're way more attracted to, like, confident, like, charismatic people versus looks. Like, when I was 22, like, a guy could literally sit and look like the wall and just stare, and I'd be like, he's my dream man. You know what I mean? And then he'd talk and he'd be like, shh, just stare again. Stare into the abyss. Like, get some good lighting on you and we're good. Like, you know, you can work with it. But when it comes to, like, getting older, you know, you find people that are, like, interesting, that, like, capture your attention, right? So I meet this guy there, and I'm like, wow, he's, like, super hot. And he was, I would say not super hot. Let's say hot. But very charismatic. Like, everyone in the room's like, this guy's the coolest. Like, he's awesome.
that
and I'm
ups
like,
your hotness.
yeah, so you're like,
100%.
yeah, it's
I
like,
think it does.
yeah, so I'm like, it totally does. It equates, like, way more. Especially, like, just if you're younger watching this. Like, go for the cool guy that everyone's like, this guy's the coolest. Like, it would save me my whole 20s. Like, your best years
Agreed.
of looks, go for the cool guy. Don't go for the hot guy. The hot guy is never cool. I've done the field research for you all. It's not it.
Research.
Go for the cool guy. I've done it all. I've done the field research. It doesn't work out.
Well,
There's
what
not a
happened with the
diamond
cool
in the rough.
guy?
So, cool guy, right? So we start talking and hitting it off. And there was like a lot going on. But anyways, we started hitting it off, like, flirting a lot, whatever. And Maud, good old brother, once in a while, teed it up and was like, yo, because he was like, I'm leaving. And he's like, you got to get my sister's number so we can all hang out sometime. And he was like, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, okay. And he, like, comes over in front of everyone. He's like, so your brother asked me to get your number in front of, like, you know, MGK's, like, managers there, and everyone's just kind of like, what is happening? And I'm like, okay, yeah, like, we are friends on Instagram. You could have DM'd me this, but, like, let's just do this in front of everyone. So I'm like,
Here's
sure.
my digit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so here's my number. Yeah, my brother told you, so here you go. Like, this is the two goats and a chicken coming together. So I'm like, okay, amazing.
Brother approved.
Yeah, thank you. So whatever. So we start texting and we're talking a bunch, and, like, you know, I invited him to, like, a video shoot we had the next day, but then he couldn't come. We were having this, like, whole weird conversation, like, back and forth sometimes about hanging out, but it was always, like, not working out. And I'm like, I don't understand why you would get my number if you don't actually want to hang out with me, like, at all. Like, very confused. Now, there's reasons, obviously. But I was like, hello, like, in this moment, you met me on a video shoot. My brother's directing it. You know, there's all these cool people around. Like, if you're going to ask for my number, I feel like it's because you're like, okay, I really want to hang out with her. Otherwise, this just seems weird, right? Like, you're embarrassing yourself asking for my number and all that stuff. So I was like, this is kind of weird.
Maybe because his boss said he had to, or he should.
Yeah, Maud. Yeah, right. Maud is, when you said boss, I'm like, who's the, Maud. Maud the boss.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll go ask her now.
Do what my boss says.
Yes, he's like, yes, sir. So anyways, so one night my power went out in the summer. It was like the beginning of August
Rolling
or end of July.
blackouts. Welcome
Yes.
to LA.
Yes, I know. Which it was like 100 degrees. Like at one point it got to the
Oh,
point
yeah,
where I
yeah.
was like literally like laying in my car in the AC and I was like, this is not it. Like, why did I move to LA?
Why did I move to LA?
LA is not the dream.
Right? Like, what is happening?
What is everybody doing
I'm
here?
sleeping in my car. This is the real LA experience I was never trying to have. I waited till my 30s to move here for a reason, not to sleep in my car, in my driveway of my house. But whatever. So anyways, he was talking to me and he was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, too bad you don't have a guy friend that has AC nearby. And I'm like,
Are you that guy?
well, until lockdown, right? So it's just like, I have no filter usually, but then after lockdown, it's like the filter's gone. So I'm like, if you're referring to you, like, I'm in, let me know. I'll bring over a bottle of wine, some weed. Let's have a whole night. Like, I'll be there in 20 minutes.
As long as it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, and I was like, and you're hot, and this would be great. It's like
Yes.
a Monday night. What else am I going to do, right? And so it was being all weird, like, I don't know, like, where I'm living, and, like, it's just a weird situation. And he was kind of, like, not making a lot of sense.
He's
Like,
living
writing
in his
weird
car.
stuff.
He wants
Yeah,
to
I
invite
was
you
like, what
over.
is happening? Like, what is happening? Like, why is this guy being so weird? And then he kept texting me, like, oh my God, send me a hot picture of you. Like, oh, I wish I was hanging out with you. I'm like, but, like, we could be. This is why I don't online date also. Like, this is, we could be. Like, no, there's no
He
reasons
wasn't
we're not.
getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I don't know what was going on. I was just like, something's weird, right? So the next day I like message him and I'm just like, hey, like, you good? What's going on? Like, we should catch up. Like, my hair's finally on, whatever. No response, no response, no response. And then like a month later, we were working with a production company, and I'm like, God, that guy just ghosted me. But I was like, well, maybe he was just weirded out by that conversation. I'm weirded out by it. I was telling my friends, I was literally reading the text chain to my guy friends, and they're like, God, I love you. Why don't girls message me like this? I'm like, exactly. I'm making this so easy. I'm literally like, I will bring the wine. I will come to you. Like, I will do that right now. Like, we don't need to go to dinner. I don't care about your second cousin and this crazy story from Christmas when you were 14. Like, I don't need to know you. Like, I'm in. Like, life's been
I'm just
rough.
fun. Let's just have fun.
Let's hang out. Like, love it. You know, like, no, just no games. And
Yeah.
so then Austin, my roommate, calls me and he's like, hey, I have to tell you something. And he was like, all serious. And this was just,
This is like months later.
yeah. So this was like, we stopped talking like end of July, like beginning of August, right? Like I messaged him, he never responded. And I was like, weird. I even checked a couple times, like, does he still follow me on Instagram or do you like block me? Or like, did something weird
So you
happen?
got ghosted.
Was
so
I
this is
too-
like the true
So I'm
ghosting
totally
you're
ghosted.
thinking.
So I'm like, damn, okay, I'm totally ghosted. Like, okay, which it's happened. I've been ghosted by like long-term boyfriends. So like,
I don't understand this ghosting business. Like
I
how
know.
pathetic
That was
and
before
like
our time.
it was way before our time.
thank God. Like, can I go to your time? Because
Oh, our time
literally-
was like the phone was still connected to the wall.
Yes.
So
No,
that's
I remember
way
that.
back
Oh,
when.
I know those days. Like before texting, life
You were
was
like
amazing.
5.
No, I was not. I was literally like, I will never forget. I was like an NBA cheerleader when I was like in college, when I was like 18, 19 years old. And I remember this guy I met was like obsessed with texting, and I didn't have texting yet on my phone. So like to date myself.
So you actually had a cell phone in high
So
school. Is
I
what you're
had to
saying.
go on. Yes, I did. But I had to go on the internet. Like there was a way through AT&T or Sprint where I could reply to his text through the computer. I'm not joking. I don't know how I found this hack. Like I could have just gotten unlimited texting. It was probably like $5. My mom probably been like, "It's fine," like whatever. But instead, I like went online and I'd reply to him, and he'd always be like, "It's so weird. Whenever I get your replies, they come from like a weird number, not your phone number." And I'm like, weird. Like 'cause I didn't have texting yet. I
This
was like,
weird library.
I don't know. And then it was just like, I mean, it was kind of a simpler time. Like I went through a phase. Okay, so back to the ghosting. I'm sorry. I'm like getting off tangent. So long and short, we're about to film another video with a lot of the same production people. And so Austin calls me and he's like, hey, I have to tell you something really serious. This was like probably, so we stopped talking end of July or beginning of August. And this was like beginning of October. So like, life's moved on. I was
Yeah.
like, of course I would meet one guy in LA, would get my number and just ghost me. Like that's
And he
just
was like the coolest guy you've met so far.
yeah, coolest guy I met so far. Cute, tall, like really charismatic, fun, like all the good things. My brother loved him, which I mean, trust me, Mom loves a lot of people. But like with me,
thought he was
when
a
I
good guy.
date, he's
Yeah.
always kind of like meh, meh. Meh. You know, my family's, I mean, to summarize my dating life, it's been meh. So in their defense,
Are you Jewish?
their reaction is authentic, but, you know, at
Yeah.
the time. And so I was like, okay, like, weird. And so he's like, I have to tell you something. I'm like, yeah, what? What's up? Why do you sound all serious? Like, what's going on? Like, you guys never call me about anything serious. He's like, so that guy you met, he's like, I don't know how to tell you this. He's like, but he actually passed away. And I was like, what? And I was like, no, you're kidding, right? And he's like, no, he like literally passed away a while ago. We didn't know this. Like, there was some situations like in his personal life, whatever, and he passed away, and I was like, oh my God, like, what? So I like get off the phone and I'm just like thinking about it, like, oh my God. My mind's racing, you know, like, okay, this is crazy. So I'm like, don't do it, which I do this a lot in my life. And then I'm like, so I'm gonna do it. So I'm like, don't Google anything about him. Don't look on his social media. Like, don't do it. So I like go on there and I realize the night that my AC
When you were in the car.
went out, when I was in my car and we were having this crazy conversation, the next day is when he passed away. So, like, very sad in that sense, like, totally sad. But also, I was like, okay,
I
didn't get
ghosted, but
You actually kind of did get ghosted.
I know, but so that was like my first dating experience in LA. It was like, met a guy, got my number, had a great time, and then like was trying to meet up with him, and then literally decided he was like, this girl's batshit, I'm not talking to her again. And then literally it was like, no, he actually passed away.
He actually really liked you, and they're probably...
Well, I don't know, because then you go through all the crazy things. You're like, what was I even saying to him? Like, what did I do? Like, I sent like a sexy pic to him, not with my boobs in it, thank God.
You did?
Yes, and I'm like, his parents probably went back and were like, what was he doing or something? And I'm like,
talking to.
they probably saw this like fucking topless, like covering my boobs, like sexy pic in his thing, like the night before. Yes, I know, I left that part out before.
Yeah, you did.
Because I'm like, oh my God, his parents are probably like, what is happening?
But wait, you sent that picture, and then you got a response?
When I sent the picture, he had replied and was like, send me a better picture. Guy frames, like, send me a better picture, wink, wink. And I was like, haha, no, let's save that for real life, you know, because I'm so sassy on the
text. To
text.
ask you to come over.
Yeah, like, come on, I'm whipping out all the cards. Like, and he was like,
Did he send you any pictures?
No. Mm-mm. So anyways, yeah, and he just said his living situation was weird, or he'd have me come over, and that was that, and it was,
And you were like, I'm living in a car right this second?
Yeah, I'm like, my house
is
is
happening.
I'm like, your living situation is weird. I live with my brother, 2 boys,
And 3 dogs.
And right now I'm living in my car, though.
and I'm in my car with no AC, and it's pitch black, because we have no power either, so it's not like you can come here and watch Netflix, or like, we could even open my fridge, because we can't, so come on over, though, that'd be fun, right? So yeah,
Wow.
Crazy. I know, but that's not even the weirdest dating story I have.
Okay,
I mean,
if that's not the weirdest, then let's hear one
What is
weirder
weirder
but
than
less
that?
sad.
Okay, weirder or less sad. Let's just let's do some summaries of like fun life. Okay, so one time, speaking of getting ghosted by people you're actually dating. Okay, so I was dating this guy for a while in Minnesota. God knows why. I was in a weird place. I get into these weird places where I'm like, this guy's kind of cool and fun. Like, you just catch me on the right night. I'm like, he's kind of cool. And then I just like, I'm all in. I'm an Aries. So we're just like, fire. It's like, cool. That's it. That's what I'm doing now. Cool. This is it. Cool. So I started dating this guy. And everyone's like, you know, like, he was a bartender at Big Bull. Like, maybe aim a little higher. You're not 18. Like, you're 26, like, at this point. So maybe don't date him. But I was really into this guy. You could not convince me anything else. He was so cool, so hot. I thought he was so awesome. He definitely was none of the things. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. The water in Minnesota is something. Let me just give you a perspective of Minnesota. Minnesota is filled with beautiful women who are super driven because it's cold and snowy, and there's tons of huge Fortune 500 companies there. Driven, awesome, beautiful women, and then just a bunch, and I'm sorry, but y'all know, a bunch of fuckboys. Okay? It's literally, they know. They're like, oh yeah, you guys want to know the secret about Minnesota? Yeah, this is why we live here. Look at these girls. I mean, like, I can treat a 10 like a 5, and she's gonna be in love with me. Like, this is Minnesota. We're in LA, these bitches would just be like, who are you? Get out of my space. Like, don't even walk in this bar ever again. Like, you know, in Minnesota, we're all like, he's just having a hard day. It's, like, been pretty shitty out. And, like, you know, like, the Vikings lost. That's probably why he's, like, upset. You know what I mean? It's like that.
Excuses.
You know, we're all so nice. Like, we never learned someone to be like, just no. Don't put up with it. So, of course, he's, like, an epitome of a fuckboy. So we're dating, and he's kind of being weird about things. And I, like, always kind of questioned if I trusted him. But, of course, that didn't stop me from dating him. Because why would that?
Yeah, why would you trust a bartender?
It's not like
More
a top
fun.
key thing you look for when you're dating someone. Like, first things first, are you trustworthy? Oh, no. That's like 20th. You know, I'm like, hot, fun, cool, has friends, likes to go out, trustworthy. So I'm like, we'll work on it. We'll get there.
We'll move that one up.
So he was acting really sketchy, right? And I was like, okay, I feel like he's doing something shady. So we had plans one night to hang out. And so I was like, he's like being shady about time. Like he was like, oh yeah, like you can come over to my place, like whenever, and we'll go out with my brother tonight. Like I'm just finishing things up and I'll call you. And I'm like, finishing up what? Like training for big bowl bartending? Like what are you finishing up? Like it's not like he's like closing out at the office here. Yeah. Like give me an hour. He was literally like, I'm finishing things up. And I was like, this is sketchy. He lived down the street from me. So I was like, fuck it. I got ready. I drove over there. Conveniently, karma on my side in some ways, right? Someone's walking out his apartment building as I show up. So I'm like, perfect. Walk right up to his apartment door, right? Like, knock on the door. He's not answering. I'm like calling him. I hear his phone ringing inside. It's a very small apartment. I mean, he's a bartender at Big Bowl. Yeah. Okay, I can hear your phone ringing. I hear you walking. Like, I can hear you. Like, are you just not coming to the door? So I'm like knocking, and he like opens the door, and He's like, whoa. Hey, what are you doing here? And he's like, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm getting ready to go out. And I was like, well, I just figured I was ready, so I'd show up. I would never do that. Never. I'm like not early to anything. Yeah. Like, I'll be late to my own funeral. Like, no, I'm not showing up early. But I'm like, yeah,
and I look good.
I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I was just taking a shower. And I'm like, cool. And he's like, come in. And I'm like, okay. And so I start walking around his apartment, and I'm like, okay. He was just showering. And then I'm like, God, I'm a crazy woman. Like, here I thought he was cheating on me. I was going in this dark place. I'm going to bust him, like, cheating on me. And then he's like, no, like, let's get ready. So he's changing. He's getting ready. He calls his mom. We're, like, talking to his mom on the phone, not joking, for, like, 20 minutes. We get ready, have a drink. We go meet his brother. We go out, right? And so I'm like, God, I'm such a dick. What was I thinking? I'm like, I owe him. I'm, like, buying him shots. Like, you're going to get some crazy fun stuff tonight, right? We get home. And he's too drunk. So, again.
So I get nothing.
Boy. This is a summary of Minnesota dating. He gets too drunk, of course. So he just passes out. So I'm like, okay, you're getting nothing.
Yeah.
He leaves his phone out. And I see a text to come up. And it's like, good night. Because you can see the preview. And I'm like, and it said it was from his friend Cam. But he had a guy friend named Cam, like capital C. And then this was like a little C Cam. So like,
because you're
the little
about things. Sherlock Holmes in the house.
10th grade, like smart. Like, oh. The 10th grader would pass this. Like, good, smart. I made it. So I'm like, cool. Let's see what we got in here. So I literally open his phone because, of course, I obviously know his password.
No, his password.
Duh. I mean, he's a fuckboy. It was probably like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I watched him once go like this. Or he did this, the big square. And you're like, cool. So it's like 1379 or 1397, whatever. Anyways. So, and I'm in my 20s. So, of course, I'm going to break his phone.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, let's see what's in here.
Of course.
I start reading it. And I scroll up. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Okay, this girl, I don't even know her name. I'm sorry. You're probably a lovely person. But actually, I can't say that. You're probably not that lovely. But anyways, I see this text that says, this girl is so obnoxiously in love with you, I can't even listen to her talk. And I'm like, come again? Listen to me talk. So I read the text.
Because you're thinking it's a guy at this time, because you're not exactly
No, I knew it was a girl. Okay. I knew right away. Good night at 2 a.m. It's night. Like, who's this bitch? Yeah. And here as
it's not
Cam.
The Cam.
Right? And I'm like, wait a minute. And I read the text. And I kid you not. She is in his closet. They were hooking up when I showed up at the house. They were hooking up when I came.
So she wasn't leaving.
So instead of having her leave or being like, you busted me, he put her in his closet. And again, big bull bartender. Sorry, Jesse. I just have to, you deserve this. So I'm just going to be honest. Okay, big bull bartender, it's not a walk-in closet. It's like a 60-year-old apartment, wood floors, straight up dark. There's not a, string light in there. She's sitting in the dark, wet, because they were in the shower, in his little tiny-ass closet in the dark, for an hour. He oversold it. He was like, let's call my mom. Let's call my brother. Let's have a drink. And I'm hanging out. And she's just sitting in the closet for an hour, listening to me and texting my boyfriend. This girl sounds so obnoxiously in love with you. I can't even listen to it. It's like, you are in a closet judging me? You are sitting in a physical closet, wet, judging me. So anyways.
Wait, I can't believe that he thought it was okay to just have her in the closet, and then he's doing extra things like call his mom.
She thought it was okay to get in the closet. But that bitch is crazy.
If a guy told you, get in the closet, can you just get in the closet for me? Wouldn't you be like,
no.
Bro. I would be such a bad bitch, walk out the door honey, your man a dog, and he's not even that good. You should move on, and just trot down the stairs. That's what I would have done. But no, this girl.
Wouldn't he be nervous she was going to, bust out?
Clearly not. I don't know, but she
was
didn't.
keeping that secret.
She was chilling, and then she wrote him like, "I'll lock your apartment when you leave." I'm like, "This bitch has a key? Like, what? What is happening?" So she's like, "I'll lock your apartment for you when I leave." So I read the whole phone, right? I'm going through it. Like, his battery's on like 4%,
Oh
right?
my
So I
God.
wait for the phone to die. He's passed out, completely unconscious, right? So I'm like, seeing red. I'm like, okay, do I murder him? No, not worth it. Not worth the hit. Okay, not worth the hit. I'm like, do I rob him? Do I have a friend come here? Like my guy friends, I have such, like awesome,
Kick his
overprotective
ass.
big brothers. Like, does someone fight him? Like, what do I do? So I'm like, no. I wait for his phone to die. I literally leave it dead, put a Post-it on it that said, "Thanks for the entertaining read. Never fucking call me again." Stuck the sticker on his phone, left his phone by his bed, packed up all the shit that I was ever in his house that was mine. Like, even if it was like, I brought over a case of Trulies, I was bringing it all. Like, every single thing. Left the house, went home, never heard from him until like 9 a.m. because it was like 3 in the morning at this point. And he like kept calling me. I like never
called you.
Oh, he called me. He called me like a year later. This is like how you know I was way too nice. He called me like a year later just to catch up, and I was like, bro, like, don't call me. What are you doing? He's still on my Facebook. He's literally watches my stories. I see you, Jesse. I see you, Jesse. But literally, this is my dating life. I'm not kidding when I tell you I have stories. That's not even, like, I have more.
How pathetic is she?
Okay, we
though?
need to hear more
Right?
stories.
Why doesn't he just date her then?
That's a great question. I mean,
No,
I
because
don't
he
know.
doesn't want her. She is just a fuck girl.
Oh, and I also
Right?
got my revenge because I had gotten him a new bartending job at a different bar. And then I made them, my friend was
Not
a part
hire
owner,
him.
and I made them fire him.
Yes.
So there you go. I was why you got fired, okay? It came out now.
So no bull bar.
I can die
And
with a
no-
clean slate today. No, I'm just kidding. Because I told you now that the reason you don't work at Crave anymore is because
So
of me.
wait, you didn't text the girl back.
No, never. I never talked to the girl. The poor girl.
But if you did from his phone.
Yeah, you could have acted.
That
yeah.
could have been a whole thing, but honestly, I was like, I've seen all I need to see
Yeah.
here. What am I going to say to a girl that was comfortable hiding in a closet while me and my boyfriend were hanging out for an hour? That's going to just...
But you could have said something back, which would have been from him.
I could have, but honestly, I didn't even
That
think
would have
of
been
it. That would have
fun.
been fun.
That
But I
would
was
have
already
been
like,
fun.
this is insane. A girl was hiding in the closet.
Yeah.
In the closet.
Naked noodle in the closet, like wet.
Guys are dogs. Like, I've learned in my years
think
that
that-
there is like no threshold of like unexpected with men. At least men I'm attracted to. Like, I must be just attracted to like the most insane people because everyone I date, I mean, I have so many stories like that. But
I
it
don't
does
think you're crazy enough. It
the crazy
seems
works
like-
for some women, honestly.
I think that's what the problem
Yeah.
is. So, guys out there, if you're looking for a girl that's not crazy, here we go. Okay?
This will be my new online dating.
She's
profile.
living in LA now.
You
And,
can just
she's
text
available.
us here at
Yeah.
Calababes.
Yeah,
and
just slide into the DMs, you know.
swipe
Slide in the
swipe
DMs.
away.
These wonderful
Oh my
stories.
god, anytime. I know, I'm happy to
I
like.
feel so normal with my
I
dating.
know. Well,
I know.
don't
See,
say that.
because you're exactly. You're
No,
like.
don't
I'm
say that.
So
Don't make her
grateful
feel
that
bad.
I'm married.
So
Do you have
happy
any
I'm
bad date
married.
stories? I feel like you guys need to tell me one bad date story. Do you have one? At
I
least?
actually have a bad date story, but
You
it was
do?
so random. It was like one of those things. I was like in college and just like out. I was living in Santa Cruz. We were out skating, like by the
Skating?
pier pond
Roller
skateboarding.
skating?
No
Oh.
skateboarding.
So cool.
Duh. And so we were skating and just like hanging out. And I was with my friend who had a boyfriend, and it was Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So obviously they're going out. And I don't know why in the world this happened, but there's this kind of cute guy, and he's like, yeah, you want to go out? Like Valentine's Day, like we should go out tonight. And I was like, okay, whatevs. And my friend was like, yeah, we're going to this dinner. And so I don't know if he knew him or what, but for some reason we all ended up at dinner together.
Fate.
And I'm, like whatever, I order like a normal meal. But this guy orders like lobster and like all this stuff.
Oh, whoa.
And I was like, okay, fancy pants, like,
Yeah.
And so the bill comes and he didn't eat anything. Like he ordered this whole meal, this whole lobster meal,
What?
and like was all cracked out and didn't eat anything and like
Cracked
kept
out.
going to the bathroom. And I was just like, what is up with this dude? So then the bill comes and suddenly he has no money and
No.
he gets my friend's boyfriend to pay the bill. And I'm just like trying to fork over whatever cash I have, but
Oh my god.
I mean, it was like so embarrassing. And this guy, I think it turned out he was just like doing drugs, coke in the bathroom, like had no appetite. Like he was a total derelict.
Oh my God.
And I was just like at this, and I'm like, I don't even care about Valentine's Day. Like this was not my boyfriend.
Yeah, you're like, this is
I
not
was,
boyfriend.
I was just like, just hanging out, having fun with my friends.
Yeah.
And that was my worst dating story ever. But I didn't even date the guy. Like it was like
Just a date.
but we were like out like skateboarding in the street, and he's like, dude, we should all go out tonight. And the guy was like, yeah, dude, let's go out. And so like we all went out, and it was so
expensive.
Like, why did you even ask me to go out? Like
just go by yourself.
I mean, I would have paid for my own dinner. Like I was a vegetarian, like crazy person at that time, so I probably ordered like a piece of lettuce.
Yeah,
so
salad.
I was a cheap date. Anyways,
God. That's so crazy.
Yeah. I probably cried over the killing of the lobster or something. So like that was back in the
Oh
day.
yeah.
Then he didn't even eat it, so that was wasteful. And the
You're
hippie
like,
in me was
oh
just
my
like,
God, this is all wrong.
so bad.
So bad.
Yeah. So that was the story.
That's that's pretty tame, but like, still good.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was a
that is
good
still
one.
like a crazy one. I was
know.
thinking you were going to say he was going to leave and like you got stuck paying the bill.
Well, I mean, I pretty much did because I was like, I'm not going to let my friend's boyfriend pay for this douchebag's
That I'm now
lobster
accountable
dinner.
because
Yeah, like I didn't invite the guy.
Oh
So
my
that was
God.
pretty bad. But
Do you have a bad
that
one?
never happened again.
I mean, I don't know if I really have a bad one. I mean, my mom set me up on a blind date before. It's the only blind date. And my mom, your mom setting you up? Come on.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. How was it?
It was terrible. I'm so picky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my mom was dating this guy who was this lawyer, and she's like, he's got this son who's,
Oh, of course.
Oh no.
yeah, this son who's like going to be a pro baseball player, and he's so good looking, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, Mom, no.
Yeah.
I don't need help getting guys.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
okay,
you.
and I don't think you and I have the same taste and stuff. You know what I mean? But it ended up I kind of did it as a favor. Oh,
Those always end
boy.
bad.
Longest 2 hours of your life.
Well, it's just like he comes to the door and he's like shorter than me. and
Oh,
it's
nope, that's over.
I'm like,
I mean, I'm only 5 feet tall, so that's over for me. If you're shorter than me, we got a problem.
I'm like, hi, like instantly. I'm like, it's no. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
you're
so,
like, so we're doing this now.
so we go
so there's
to
like 2 hours of torture.
well, we go to a bar. You know what I mean? And I'm like, thank God we had cell phones. So I texted Alice. I'm like, come now.
Come on.
So my sister comes.
Oh
She's
my
a good
God, I love
distraction.
it. What a
Allison to the rescue.
She's like, I'm here.
So she shows up with a couple of her girlfriends. I'm like, this has been really fun.
People are here.
I'm gonna go. And he's like, where are you going? And I was like, and so I named like this club. I was like, oh yeah, we're all going over to Iguana, I think it was called.
Okay, love it.
I'm from Jersey, so everything's
yeah.
really Guido.
I love
And he was like, cool, I'll come. And I was like,
No.
oh,
that. He came?
yes.
Oh, that is.
He
bold.
was having the best time.
I'm sure he was. He's
Oh,
like, I'm out
yeah.
with 5 hot chicks that I'd never hang
He's
out
like
with.
texting his mom.
He's like, whatever.
Mom,
Dad,
I
it's
got it
going
going on.
Wait, so just out of curiosity, did you ever make the pros in baseball?
I have no idea.
She's like, I did not care. After that night, I never heard
Like,
about
after
it
that
again.
night, he was
If I
probably
remember
inspired.
what
He's
his
like,
name
this is
was
what
by
it's
the
like
other
to be
night.
a pro athlete.
Right,
I'm out
right.
with all these hot chicks. Like,
No, but I remember looking over at him and he was like dancing, having the best time by himself,
oh my God.
like with our crew. I
yeah.
was like, Allison, he won't fucking go.
You're like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
No, he's like, this is the best night of my
leave.
life.
He's like, I'm not going anywhere.
He's like, I'm going to soak this up.
He's like, I'm dating Amy Feldman now.
Oh, I'm sure he did go around saying that.
oh, she's
He's like texting all his friends.
she's
I
like,
know. My mom's
no.
like, Amy, he really likes him. Like, psst.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, Mom.
Congrats to him.
Don't know what to tell you.
Like, I'm likable. Thank you. I'm glad he
We're
sees
done
that.
here.
I'm sure it happens all the time. But no.
Thank you,
my
Mom.
God.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I know. Parents setting you up is not,
Oh,
is not it.
God. In a blind date, I don't need to go on blind dates. I'm sorry.
Nobody
no,
actually
blind
needs to
dates.
go
That's
online.
exactly why I can't do the internet thing.
It
blind
is like
dates,
a blind date,
no.
even with a fake photo, because everything is like Photoshop. So you're like, what am I really gonna get when I meet up with this person?
And then you meet them and they're always like,
How old was that photo you posted?
or you're just like, like literally, I went on one time, met up with a guy, and he was only because he was like so hot that I was like, okay, gonna do it. And he was like, gets there, doesn't tell me any details, picks the weirdest place to go, like a quaint little weird small bar that's like a bed and breakfast, honestly, hotel. That
What?
It wasn't like that though, but like there's a bar in it. And I was like, this is the weirdest pick. And he was like, so let me tell you about me. Like,
Oh God. And
you
I
know.
have room 321 if you want to go
No,
hang out at my
it wasn't that vibe at all.
lame
It was
room.
literally the opposite. He was like, so I just got divorced. And he's like, tells me this like elevator pitch for his brilliant website business idea that he's going to start, which
What?
is a self-help website for men going through divorce called Be the Buffalo. And gives me a 20-minute spiel about buffaloes running through rainstorms versus running away from rainstorms. And that's how all men should be, is face things head on. And I'm just like, whoa, this is so much to unpack. And then he's like, yeah, I just got on this dating app. And like so many girls like matched with me. I'm like going on all these dates. And I was like, congrats to you. So like we have one drink and I'm like, yeah, it's late. I work in the morning.
You.
And I'm like, and I'm trying to be nice because I work in marketing. So I'm like, he's telling me about his website, and I'm trying to be like, don't poke holes. I'm like, oh, that could be interesting. Like if you marketed it, like, you know, here. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm giving him like marketing tips for this ridiculous site that I'm sure he never
I
started.
gotta go.
Yeah. So I literally am like, okay, well, we should go. And he's like, okay, cool. Do you want to just split the tab? I was like, sure. So we split the tab for one drink each, by the way. One drink each.
Couldn't buy you a drink.
So I'm like, cool. So we get out, and I'm wearing shoes like this, right? And it's like Minnesota, and it's probably November or December, so it's freezing, right? We walk out the door, and he's like, well, this was so fun. I was like,
For who?
oh, and he also lives in an apartment in the very far outskirts suburbs with a Great Dane. And I was like, you and
no.
a Great Dane in one apartment. Oh,
In the
hell
winter.
no. Like a 200-pound dog in the winter. So I'm like, okay, I'm going. So I'm like, this is why I don't online date. And I haven't since, honestly. But so we go to leave, and he's like, did you want to, like, walk around the river? Like, because there's rivers down there. And I was like, at 10 p.m. after you just made me buy a drink, told me about your divorce, and made me buy my own drink, and I'm wearing heels, and it's freezing. Do I want to walk around the river with you? No. And I literally said, and it was probably the meanest I've ever been, I literally was like, no, absolutely not. And he was just like dumbfounded. Like I think he had never understood why.
Oh, you know, he went on
was
his
just
Buffalo website that
starting-
night, and it was just
Dating,
like,
it sounds like.
oh my gosh, you'll never believe this experience I just had.
Yep. Well, you know, my friend did tell me, because I got out of like a major breakup like two-ish years ago, let's say. And she was like, go on a blind date with someone you do not care about at all, because you're going to be a disaster. And I was like, girl, me on a date? Come on. I'm a great date. Like, I'm not going to go on a bad date. So I met this one guy, and he was like really cool. And we went on a date, but it was like one of those things where I was out with friends. He was out with friends. We all met up, because I'm like, I'm not doing a date. Like, I'll meet up with you. So he came and met up, and I was so wasted. And I like am still to this day embarrassed by this date. Like, I was so drunk, and I was like, he's so hot, right? Like, to my friends, like, he bought our whole tab, because I think he was just like, oh my God. It was like a $200 bar tab for all my girlfriends. We've been drinking there for hours. He bought the whole tab and was just like, so I'm looking for something more serious than this. Like, I don't know. I think you're a little crazy. Like, I was like, oh my God.
But
She
paid
was
your
right.
entire bar tab. Like,
Oh,
what a
he was just
gentleman.
like, I gotta go. He's like, he like owned a brewery or a beer distribution company with his brother, so he was like successful. I usually try to keep that bar in my 30s of dating people. I was like, do you have a job outside of bartending at Big Bull? Okay, we can date.
Do you have a job?
Do you have a job? Okay.
And a car.
Yeah.
And heat.
And, you know, air conditioning and all the things. But yeah, after that, I was like, okay, you're right. So literally, at least as far as I know, I do agree. Like, he was probably just out of his divorce. And I was like the one that he had to get it out of his system. Just
dating.
shake off the nerves with me.
And
But he
sounds
should have at
like-
least bought me the drink. Like,
Because
sorry.
I think he thought he was a catch.
Oh,
He did.
I'm sure his wife was
Oh,
like,
no.
you're a disaster. And he's like, nah, the internet.
I'm a catch.
The internet
Please.
disagrees.
Look at all these girls.
I've got
that wanna go out
100
with
likes
me.
on Bumble. It's like, yeah.
I got 100 likes on Buffalo.
Yeah, let me know how that goes for you in your one-bedroom apartment with your Great Dane mounting your date, probably. Like, I don't know, bro. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest dog. That's not an apartment dog.
No, that
Like,
is
No,
not.
I still-
That's just
that's
sad.
animal cruelty.
I've literally
I-
never thought of that
that's so
guy,
sad.
but I have thought of the dog. I'm like, that dog, I hope he has a yard now. I hope that guy found someone on Bumble or wherever he was, and now
Moved
that
him.
dog is frolicking in like a 3-acre forest, like living his best life while his dad's still working on getting that website up and going, you know? Like,
Well,
The old college
hopefully,
shy.
and hopefully, my blind date is a big baseball star, and Mara's is in AA.
Yes, let's hope for that.
So, thank you for joining Calababes. I'm Amy Feldman.
I'm Mara Allen.
I'm Danielle! Yay!
Bye.